very good evening, and thank you Visamo Foundation and all its members, and of course the management for having me in this platform. I especially thank Shudeshna for you know helping me to be here, and Debjani, who's my friend, my school coordinator, who has actually egged this on. And today I'm extremely happy to be over here to share my thoughts on a little bit of education, or if it benefits anybody. And about myself, I am Mrs. Moshami Banerjee. I've been in the field of education for nearly 30 years, postgraduate in English, and also I have done my PR in management, as well as I did a disability rehabilitation training from NIOH, because inclusion is the call for the day. And of course, I have to thank, before I start this session, Mr. Dikshit, who has helped me in the technical part, because without his help I don't think I would have been able to do, because we are, who are on the other side of age, we are a little technologically challenged. And I must thank Mr. Dikshit, because and here's the change. See, I mean, 5 months back, I don't think we would have thought about it. And change is the order of the day. Within 5 to 7 days, the entire teaching fraternity changed its mode of teaching, and we got into the online, and slowly everybody picked up, and now how smoothly this is going, it's marvelous. So I think adaptability is very, very important in today's day and age, and we can see that we are progressing very well. Of course, the COVID has had the positives and the negatives. The positives is that we've been connected today. I think if on generally, if a classroom was going on, I wouldn't have been connected to this wonderful platform, because the kind of work what you all do at Visamo, and the light which Shudeshna has thrown, it's marvelous. I mean, I really, my whole heart goes out to all of you who are doing this, and from 2002 it's been quite some time. So while I was also kind of doing this online, and training teachers how to do, I came across this part, that what is the most important tool which we can actually give to students, or in the teaching learning process. And today we talk about skills. Can 1 year go without embedding skills to children? So I've been brainstorming, and I'll just throw a light on what I think. And there are messages coming in. So good evening, everyone. Welcome. And again, thank you Visamo Kids for having me in this live session. It's really, really an honor and an experience, because every bit of experience actually adds up to your learning. So going back, when we were going through this online, and what is the teaching learning process going to be, and how are we going to actually get children to learn, and can 1 year go without skills? So we talk about these 21st century skills which are so important today. Your critical thinking, your communication skills, collaborative skills, creativity, imagination, and then thinking out of the box, problem solving. These are so much a part of the 21st century teaching learning process. So how do we do that? It's all online. Teachers don't know if they are really listening. But then I thought that questioning is a tool which can be used, and by different methods of questioning, actually we can embed these skills into a curriculum, because at the end of the day, children have to know certain content. We have to abide by certain syllabus and the curriculum. So questioning is one very important tool that I think, teachers can adapt to. Why teachers? Any educator for that matter, because there are different stages that the child goes through, and the questioning changes. In fact, I'll share a little personal experience of mine when I was a principal at Guwahati, and one of the seniors over there who was a principal before me, she said that, Moushumi, children learn through questions, and she would meticulously go through each question, of the classwork, of the assessment, and I think I picked it up from her. I gave it a thought and I said, yes, questioning is a very important tool. And so when we give questions, maybe just at the class, or when we are starting a lesson, or we are giving it an assessment, I think it's very, very important. Now, how do we do that? Of course, we have Bloom's taxonomy, where they talk about the basic, that is your understanding and remembering. But from there you go on to your analyzing, then applying, then evaluating, and finally you create. Therefore, when we question, we have to remember this. But generally, if we are going to ask children, say we are going to do a lesson, how do we go? And today we are also, at crossroads of multidisciplinary, how we can embed other subjects also. Because today with the NEP coming in, I'm sure there'll be a lot of changes. And how can, we relate a physics to geography, or we can relate maths to chemistry. These are things which, because if it's application based, children learn more. And I think that is what we should do. Say we are doing a lesson on ratio and proportion. Now, maths is very, very intangible for children. They really don't understand. Some have phobia with numbers. But if we can teach it in a playway method, if we can ask them, okay, you make a lemonade, Limuka Ras, today everybody is having it, the lime water with a little bit of sugar and salt. You just ask them to bring it in one of the classes and say, okay, now tell me, how much of sugar did you put? How much of salt did you put? And how much of lemon drops did you put? Now just write it down. Now there will be different answers. Isn't this a ratio? So the perfect blend will come if we put the right lemon drops, the right amount of sugar, and the right amount of salt. But if anything goes a little different, then either it's going to be salty, or it's going to be sweet, or it's going to be sour. So if we teach that, it's so important for ratio, and take them to a life skill of cooking. So cooking cannot be done without any ratio, because if we put too much of any ingredient, the whole taste will go. Now, and then take them to numbers, take them to proportion. They will relate this very well, and the fear of not being able to do a particular sum in ratio and proportion, it will be very easy for them to understand the concept, because understanding the concept is very, very important in today's world. And what are the skills that we are embedding? There are certainly a little bit of critical thinking that we are embedding in them. We are also embedding a little bit of problem solving, because if the sugar is more or the salt is more, how do you solve it? How do you make it tasty? And then you can relate it to chemistry. When we talk about changes, this is a chemical change. Can we get back the sugar and the salt? No. So the teacher can take this onto another level and teach. And I think in class 6 level, we do this. Therefore, how we also bring on a topic, what are the right ways we question their minds is very, very important. Now, of course, you'll say maths, and what about other subjects? Now, also, geography has a very important subject, weather. They do it throughout. So, say, I tell them that, okay, just notice 7 days of the weather change. Maybe it's from winter, from summer it's going to winter, or there's a change, or the monsoon, the entire weather chart will change. Or we tell them that, okay, keep a note of it. Now after that, what is the average they can do? So the average sums comes in. Then we can also tell them that what are integers. Say there is a minus or a plus degree, or I tell them about another country, take the where there is minus and plus. So integers come in, and with integers is a concept which a lot of children find it difficult, but if we apply them and they can do it, then I think it's very important, it's easy for them. And also when we are teaching different things, say this is one of my favorites, I tell them that in geography we do rotation and revolution, and it goes up. And also if we just tell them that, usually however much I say, and anywhere I ask that, what is it that, how will you frame the question? Either they will say that, define rotation revolution, what is the difference of it, and they will write it down. Now they've learned this. So after this, if I kind of tell them that you are going to New Zealand in the month of June, how would you actually pack your bag? What are the things you'll take and why? So I think this helps that, to think more, and they will think critically. And you can also bring it to this situation, that if you tell them that in this situation, in the COVID situation, do you think you can travel? Why not? What will happen? Some people are also traveling. What is it that they are doing? And also then of course the southern hemisphere will come in, and a lot of differences will come in which the children will think. So there's a lot of critical thinking, and we can embed that over there. And whatever the answer the children gives, whatever, I think that we need to let the children speak. They are not getting judged, because this is what they're seeing. So a question which is not typically from the content will allow them to have their own creativity. This is very, very important. Also when we talk about northern lights today, everybody is talking about northern lights. So it's very I would ask that, can we go to see the northern lights this year? And which is the time that we go to see the northern lights? It's always from November to February. In that cold season, why do we have to go up north? Why can't you also go in the summers? So what is it? Why? And why do you think so? If we keep asking the children, then it will strike that, is it because of the darkness, because the northern hemisphere at that time the sunlight does not reach, so it's dark. And then slowly from there we probe, because the most important thing in questioning is probing, and slowly we can probe and get that this is reflection of the light. So the positioning of the sun and the moon and the earth, they all depend. And we can show pictures and they can also answer, and this can be in a very playway method, because any child can answer anything. So it's very, when you are teaching, and as I said, online is now we don't know, so we have to actually grasp their whole attention. And how do we do that? One is, of course, storytelling. We can say there is a chapter of indigo. When we start, we can start off with a story, of indigo plantation, what happened in India, why the Britishers wanted to do, and then tell them. Because sometimes some chapters are a little difficult, and then suddenly you see that all the children are glued, they are answering, and you know that you have actually done your work of embedding that into them, that concept into them. So it's very important that when we are doing a lesson, what is it that we have to first grasp their attention on this OTT platform, because some children, so your whole lesson plan has to be such that it has to be very interesting, and children have to be encouraged to ask questions, or they can also plan out the questions themselves, and then we can go. There's a lovely game that children can do also over there. I have a magic something in the box. Now you can ask me 15 questions. Now you can ask first 7 questions. I will answer only in yes or no, and then I will give you a clue, then you can ask. So the art of actually framing questions they can do, and then you get to it. And over here it can be a whole class that every child would like to ask and go, and so slowly you can embed whatever your vocabulary or whatever it is into them. Also, I think when we are doing adjectives, instead of just saying that let's kind of we are going to describing words, we just tell them that you have to talk about yourself in one word. So give one word which talks about you. We don't use the word describing, we don't use the word adjective, and we say that you cannot use good, bad, or nice. You can't use. So they have to think and come out. So we don't discourage any child who does that, but we just say that, can you just give me another word? So it just becomes more interesting for them. Well, over here I would just like to say that since we talk about inclusion, there are children who have special needs, and over there also we have to reach out to them. Can they be left behind? Certainly no. So for them also, when we ask questions, they think, they try and answer you, and we have to encourage that. It's very important that in today's world we encourage children to grasp what they can. As it is, of course, we all know it's so difficult outside. They are all cooped up into their 4 walls, but we need them to think beyond, to be able, because to them to able to grasp all these skills. Critical thinking everybody is talking about. So how do we embed it? The best way is to have open-ended questions for them. Once we give them who, what, where, they have a closed answer. Let us give them a situation and let them think about it. How can they go about it? What is it that they can think in any subject? We can do this. Not only is it that in maths or in physics or chemistry or geography, we can do it in any subject. Also, say we are doing history and 1957 revolt is there in certain classes, and we do about the freedom fight, and we just start off with a little bit of this anecdote of Jhalkari Bai from Jhansi Ki Rani, and just tell them and say that Jhansi Ki Rani could save herself from the hands of the British in her palace is because of Jhalkari, who gave her life. And then you can ask them that what is the trait that Jhalkari has? What do you think that would make it a different story if Jhalkari had not taken Rani Lakshmibai's whole attire and behaved as if she was Rani Lakshmibai? So these all give a lot of critical thought to the children, and that makes the whole subject more interesting for them. We as teachers, I think we really need that. How can we actually embed all this through the online class, which is more of interactive, and we talk to them? Of course, the written work can come later, but if they can communicate, if they can think, if they can think laterally, then I think it's we will be able to be successful with this batch who are absolutely on online. And as I say, that everything is in the conditioning of the mind. We condition a mind that this is the way we have to do, we can do. Also, there are other ways, like if we really want them to think very critically and also solve a problem, sometimes you give comprehension and you give an invitation, a little invitation writing that you're invited over here. This is for the lower classes. To the higher classes, you can give a little more of it. And then from there, you frame questions, different kind. And so the children have to read, understand, as well as then answer. Or you can tell them that you can give the answer, they can frame the question. So when they frame, they have to think critically. And they have to also solve this. That, okay, this is it. You can give 2 lines, you can give 2 words. So I think that, in today's context, it's so important that we embed these skills into the children, and we encourage them to think, because if they think out of the box, then only we will get creative people, and not the rote, because we are moving away from rote learning. We don't want children just to vomit what they know. Therefore, if we question differently, if we put a certain framework and say that, okay, after this they have to apply this, like if we are doing evaporation and condensation, and I say that, okay, everybody sees the the floors being mopped. Now tell me, what will dry faster? The floor will dry faster when the fan is on or when the fan is off? Now this is a very easy observation. It's a life skill also. So obviously they will have to think, and then I can ask that, what is happening when if they say the fan is on, it dries quickly. So what is happening? What is happening is evaporation is happening. Sometimes you don't see evaporation, right? You don't see condensation. But if you can show it to them, you just bring a little bit and you show it, it becomes interesting for them. So I think that developing critical thinking is very, very important. But for all the teachers, the platform is not easy. We really need to plan. Lesson plans are there, but we really need to plan as to what questions we will ask, whom we will ask. All that has to be dotted down, and then can our class on an online class be really alive. Today we are talking about blended teaching. Of course, there'll be more innovative thoughts coming there before we come back to the real normal. But I think that if we think critically, if we try to question differently, our children will learn a lot more. And even if it's the COVID and we are away from the schools, I don't think that children will not benefit from this. And this is what I believe in. Of course, people may differ, but I think that therefore, I really brainstormed myself, and I thought that questioning is a very, very important tool to embed all the skills that we talk about. And when we talk about the C's, that is communication, collaboration, creativity, and the most important is choice. If children learn to do choice, then they can actually make real strong choices in their life, which will lead them onto the right path. Because today, even embedding values is important, empathy is important. So I think with each lesson, what we are doing, if we can kind of question them, relate a little story, imagine things differently, I think they will go a long way to benefit and learn. And of course, we will never be able to take this COVID period out of their lives. But I think if we teach in an interesting way, if we tell them about values, they will be able to relate much more than what we used to do in a normal classroom. And of course that is being missed thoroughly. Before we used to say that they learn through VAC, but over here it's just visual and audio. The kinesthetic part is missing, and wish that it comes back, because touch is so important to embed so many things into children. So I think that and this is more or less what I had to say, because questioning also leads to collaborative learning. If we talk about collaboration, which of course children are now missing, but if we give them a topic and then we say that both two people have to discuss and you have to say that, so we don't actually hinder the collaborating part. And then the understanding is also important between two people, because when they collaborate they have to also understand what they are going to put up in the next class. So it's not that because we are on online we cannot do the things that we were doing in class, but we have to find ways of thinking and putting them. So when we put a topic, we can just tell them that you think, so we can actually ask them to think and approach differently. I think this really works, instead of just giving them on a platter and just saying that okay, open to page 56 and we are doing this. I think children really benefit today. They are also in a situation like all of us adults, that they are not liking, but if we can make it a little bit interesting as teachers, as being their guiding angels, and tell them to look forward to these classes. And also I think today everybody is talking about stories, so if we can embed empathy and the other values through storytelling, I think it would be a wonderful platform for them. So if there is any question, I can take them. Okay, reverse way of learning. Yes, it is very interesting, because this is my, when the teaching goes on, I've seen children learn very well. And good evening everyone who joined in. Yes, reimagining history is very important, because the stories that they read or they hear, it is not related to their world. Today, if we are talking about coal, has anybody seen coal? If we are talking about the oven that our grandmothers or even our mothers cooked in, they don't know, they only see gas. So we have to bring them to a situation where they can relate, then only learning will take place. And that relate, how you will relate is your questioning pattern. How are you going to relate a lesson? Now everything you cannot, because as we say, experience is important. So the experience of the past also has to be taken to be able to let them relate to what is happening in today's world. So I think that when we talk about things which they cannot relate, like history lessons, mainly children say that, oh, if it's so boring. But I think if I'm going to tell them a story, or I'm going to relate to something which is happening today, they will not find it boring. And that is where the teacher's role comes in. Now they can all read, they can all understand. We need that bridge where we question them and we get them to think, or we tell them something which they have not learned, and then they can relate it, and the learning will be much easier. Yes, if there's no more questions, then I think we can okay. Yes, of course, the educators' capacities need to be built. And this is something what I felt is the teachers have to be willing to learn. We as teachers we really need to learn and relearn. And I think this situation, when the COVID, when there was the lockdown, all of us did that. Therefore, I think that we are all capable of learning new things, and also for embedding these things to children, because I think online classes are going very well and children are learning, because assessments are now taking place also, and you can see, and also the the kind of interaction which you have. So there's a lot of communication also which is going on, and each child needs to speak, because otherwise you're saying, also the teacher can see everybody. That was also in the classroom, but over here initially there were hitches, but glitches, as you say, but now slowly we are overcoming. So I think that teacher needs to always learn and relearn. I think that is the most important thing, and once we as teachers learn, I think, and unlearn and relearn, and then we can actually contribute more to these innocent minds, because we actually shape the nation. So whatever we are embedding is very, very important. So thank you everyone, thank you for watching. I hope we can add a little bit to our teaching learning process, and help our teachers to and guide them to question, so that the children think critically, as well as they are able to create their own questions, and if we give them a situation, as well as they can evaluate also, and we can help them in the other skills that are so important in today's world. Today we are not talking about digital literacy, because I think that is the key word, and everybody is getting digitally literate. So the other skills are very, very important to be embedded. So thank you so much. And once more, thank you Shudeshna for having me, and the entire fraternity of Visamo, and the good work that you all are doing. I hope someday I can be in Ahmedabad and be with all of you. Excellent work. Thank you so much, and all the best for all the times that are coming. May you continue to strive to spread education. Thank you.